letting go of every single dream. I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering never changes what you see. I've tried to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need your rest. Mighty warrior, king of the fight. No matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. Truth is, you know what tomorrow brings. There's not a day ahead you have not seen. So in all things, be my life and bread. I want what you want, Lord, and nothing less. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. You are my strength and comfort. You are my steady hand. You are my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. Your ways are always higher. Your plans are always good. There's not a place where I'll go you've not already said. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. I will trust in you. I will trust in you.
Right now, right now, right now, right now, right now, right now, right now.
I've been trying not to go off the deep end. Give me a reason. I've been trying not to.
Stay on point. I've been trying to save my voice, but y'all gave me no choice. The world gone mad, can't ignore this noise. Look at these people found dead in the streets. I got some partners that hate the police. Me, I'm just trying to hold on to my peace, cause I'm liable to lose it and go get the peace. I need a reason, I need a season. Pleading with Jesus, all of this grieving. They be like, if you and what you believe in. I do not trip, I keep it G. What in the H, you say in the I. Ain't no JK when I'm talking to God. Don't need a reason to open my eyes. If I'm still breathing, I'm running for miles, man. Yeah, I've been doing better than I was before. I walk with the limp, cause I've been wrestling with the Holy Ghost. Deep into the spit, but still somehow I keep on floating on. Thought I lost my grip, but God reminded me it's holy on.
Go off the deep end. Give me a reason. I've been trying not to go off the deep end. Give me a reason. I've been trying not to.
I might go crazy, I might go MJ back in the 80s. Back in the 90s, I might go off, or they better not try me, it might get dicey. I ain't tryna go back to the old me, I'm tryna hang on like my mama told me. Sometimes legs get weak and your arms give out and you sink to the bottom slowly. A grown man wishing that somebody hold me. Never knew my daddy, so nobody showed me. Taught me how to walk through the storm when your heart feel heavy and it's hard and you feeling lonely. But low key, high priest got the keys to the kingdom. High key, low enough to bring him, and I need all of what he bringing. I might go off the deep end, I just need another reason. Yeah, yeah, I've been doing better than I was before. I walk with the limp, cause I've been wrestling with the Holy Ghost. Deep into the spit, but still somehow I keep on floating on. Thought I lost my grip, but God reminded me it's holy on.
Go off the deep end. Give me a reason. I've been trying not to go off the deep end. Give me a reason. I've been trying not to.
I can see the promised land, though there's pain within the plan. There is victory in the end. Your love is my battle cry. When my fears like Jericho build their walls around my soul. When my heart is overflown, your love is my battle cry. The anthem for all my life. Every giant will fall, the mountains will move. Every chain of the past you've broken into. Over fear, over lies, we're singing the truth.
sundown and set me free. Everything of this world will fade. I'm pressing on till I see your face. I will live that your will be done. I won't stop till your kingdom come. 'Cause you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love, your love, your love, never ending. Oh, oh, oh. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. Oh, oh, oh. You are my freedom. We lift you higher. You are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love, your love, your love, never ending. Oh, oh, oh. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh.
Sometimes it's hard to breathe. All these thoughts that shout at me, try to bring me to my knees. And it's overwhelming, darkness echoes all around. Feels like everything is crashing down. Still I know where my hope is found. And it's only you and ooh. You say you're working everything for my good and ooh, I believe every word. 'Cause even in the madness, there is peace, drowning out the voices all around me. Through all of this chaos, you are writing a symphony, a symphony.
Hi Uprising, my name is Addison and I'm a rising 12th grader. Something that the Lord has been teaching me lately is that I'm not in control and that His plans for my life are far greater than my own. Even when things have not made sense recently or have been disappointing, I'm reminded of His promise in Proverbs 3:5-6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him and He will make your path straight." I hope that this is as encouraging to you as it is to me. Thank you for joining us.
When the night is falling, when fear is coming, still you're calling me. When faith is lost, my hope exhausted, you will be my strength. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. I'm decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it break on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking down like it let go. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking down like it let go. Echo in my soul. Echo in my soul.
What's up, Uprising? It's me, Virgo. And you caught me where I do my best thinking. I don't know about you guys, but this is definitely where the most life-changing decisions will ever happen in your life. And you'll understand that later on or soon. But either way, I hope you guys are staying safe out there. I hope you guys are being awesome and loving on each other. As we go into this last video, which Nick has been preparing, and he has been doing such a great job with these videos. So show him some love if you get a chance. Either way, love you guys, miss you guys so terribly, and I hope you guys will enjoy what we have for you. And until next season, when we start up again, we will have other things in between then. So be on the lookout for that. Love y'all, miss y'all. Hope you guys have a great day.
So, okay, let me ask you a question. What are some of your all-time favorite movies or stories? A movie or stories. What's your all-time favorite? Go ahead and share some of those in the chat right quick. Even while I talk, it's okay. So one thing that makes a movie great is how much we make the main characters likable. Like, producers create characters we can get attached to by giving us like deeper background into both the good and the bad parts of their life. Seeing both parts helps us feel what they're feeling, draws us into their story so that we care what happens to that character. Movies show us some of what happens in the character's life by creating a backstory, which is a way of letting us know some things that have happened into the character's life before what's currently going on the screen. For example, maybe the movie centers around a dad saving his daughter, but the backstory shows us that the relationship had a lot of brokenness in the past. Or maybe the movie centers around a superhero, defeating his greatest enemy, but we discover that they used to be great friends before something, divided their relationship. Understanding the backstory helps make a story more complex, interesting, and compelling. But sometimes introducing these things can seem random. Like when the dad is in the middle of a chase scene to save his daughter, and suddenly the movie flashes back to a scene where him and his daughter are arguing in the kitchen. Like, you want to be like, wait, what does that have to do with anything? We were in a car chase. Like, chances are you've also felt that way just living your own life. Like, there are moments in our real life stories that make us ask the same questions. Like, what is happening? Or what is the point of all this that I seem to be going through? So over the past 3 months or so, no doubt your world has been turned upside down because of this COVID-19 pandemic, right? For you, maybe it was a sport. Just when you thought the months and years of practice and sacrifice was paying off, you thought this was going to be your year to win, and your season and tournaments or competitions were canceled and left you feeling just empty. Perhaps just when you thought you had a group of friends that you could trust and do life with, not being able to see them in person has left you feeling alone and desperate for a friend. Maybe your home is a battlefield. And when the governor issued that stay-home order, you knew that without a doubt no chance of separation was going to bring your relationship with your dad to the next level. It was only going to get worse. Maybe when school moved to online, your grades plummeted because your learning disability made everything too difficult. Maybe the fear of the unknown has spiked your mom's anxiety, and you've noticed that, one drink at dinner has turned into 3 or 4 well into the evening, and you're scared for her. Maybe the isolation has made your self-harm habit spiral out of control. Now, here's what I know. These things will one day be part of our backstory. But as for now, they're in our current story. We're in the middle of them, and it's rough, it's hard. So what do we do? So for the past few weeks, we've been talking about this question. What do we do? What do you do when you don't know what to do? And today we're going to be talking about difficulties, pain, struggle, problems. In other words, the heavy stuff, the painful stuff, the real life stuff. But before we can even ask the question, what do I do? We often ask ourselves, why? Why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? Why is this happening now? Just like, a movie flashes back to a scene that doesn't make sense at that moment, difficulties can make us feel the same way in our life. Difficulties often feel random, pointless, or maybe even unnecessary. Now, sometimes we see the point, like after the fact, when it's part of our backstory already. Like, for example, maybe you had a broken relationship, a friendship, but looking back, you realize that, that friendship led you to make some bad decisions, and you may not have liked that version of yourself very much. So even though it felt bad at the time, you're now actually glad that relationship or that friendship ended. Sometimes we even see the point in the moment while the difficulties are happening. For example, maybe you found yourself struggling in band, and it was on you, and you weren't putting in the effort. You got called out by your teacher, starting doing rehearsals, and you got better. It wasn't fun, but it was for the best. It's nice when that happens, but most of the time, things that don't feel good seem pointless. We've all asked ourselves, why me? And if you're like me, there's usually not any good answers in the moment. And what's worse, in real life, unlike the movies, our difficult circumstances usually don't get a pretty bow tied around them as we walk through them. The outcome may not turn out how we want them to. In those times, it's really difficult for us to see any point behind our pain, to find hope despite the hurt, or to find the determination to keep going despite the difficulties. But when we find life confusing or difficult, we can actually learn what we can do by looking to people who have handled situations that are similar before, which brings us back to the life of Joseph. So the past few weeks, we've been looking at some of the events in the life of a guy named Joseph. The account of his journey is found in the Old Testament of the Bible, which basically means that he lived like long before Jesus. Okay, so here's a recap. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers. I know, crazy. He was taken to a foreign country, Egypt, where he was forced to work for this high-powered official, very important guy. Okay, while he was there, he was falsely accused of doing something he didn't do and was thrown into prison. From free man to slave to prisoner. If anyone has earned the right to ask, what's the point? Why is all this happening to me? It was Joseph, and certainly in that moment. And that's where we pick up Joseph. Joseph is in jail for a crime he didn't commit, and here he makes some new friends. Okay, so check this out. Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their master, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officials, the chief bearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, in the same prison where Joseph was confined. So as we talked about last week, Pharaoh, well, he was the boss, right? He was the be-all, end-all boss of Egypt. So if he got mad at you and wanted you to throw you into prison, that's where you go. Even if you hadn't done anything illegal or bad, like that's what he wanted, that's what happened. And that's what happened to these two guys that were thrown into prison with Joseph. So the story continues. After they had been in custody for some time, each of the two men, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were being held in prison, had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected. So he asked Pharaoh's officials who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why do you look so sad?" "We both had dreams," they answered, "but there's no one here to interpret them." Then Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." So, there's a lot happening here. Remember, Joseph himself is actually in prison for a crime he didn't commit. And even if this is a real difficult situation for Joseph, he continues to honor God in this, right? So the men had told Joseph their dreams, and with God's help, Joseph told them what they meant. And then what Joseph said would happen, well, it happened. So based on the dream of the chief cupbearer, Joseph said he would be restored to a favorable position. So basically, he would get his job back. And he got his job back. And as for the chief baker, Joseph said he would not have the same luck. And he didn't. Wasn't good. So Joseph asked the cupbearer, "Hey, look, when you get back to your position beside Pharaoh, remember me, help me out. Let him know I'm down here and I'm not a bad guy." But that's not what happened. So the story tells us that the cupbearer forgot about Joseph. He got out of jail and went on with his life. So over time, as Joseph was waiting in his jail cell for his friend to remember him, I'm sure he was tempted to wonder, what was the point of all that? Like, it didn't help my life get any better at all, by helping this guy. Has God forgotten about me? I thought I did what was right, and yet I'm still right here in jail. But then 2 years later, Pharaoh had a couple of dreams of his own, nightmares really, and he desperately searched for someone on his staff who could interpret them, right? But no one could. And that's when the cupbearer was like, "Hey, wait a minute, I think I know a guy. I remember this guy named Joseph." So Pharaoh called for Joseph, who interpreted the dreams and told him exactly what was going to happen. And so as a result of that, Pharaoh's impressed and says, "Look, he made Joseph second in charge of Egypt. All of Egypt, he's second in charge." Now, under Joseph's leadership, Egypt survived a terrible famine, which eventually put Egypt in a position to save Joseph's family and other people from his homeland who were suffering from the same famine. It was 2 full years before the cupbearer even remembered Joseph, though. And even when Joseph was promoted to a position of incredible power, he was living in this foreign land. So it wasn't like Joseph was able to go home, as a free man. So no, I mean, this worked out well, but this did not make Joseph's life perfect. Not even close. But when we see the big picture and understand the context to this backstory of Joseph's, we see that Joseph's challenging circumstances uniquely positioned him to do something great. Joseph still had to wait 2 years, though. All the good things that happened in Joseph's world didn't make those bad things okay. Like being promoted to second in command didn't undo the challenges he faced leading up to that moment. At the same time, those difficult circumstances positioned him, though, and they prepared him for something great, something only he could do. Now, and the same is true for you and I. That hard things can happen in your life. And it's important to remember that just because something happens doesn't mean it was something that God did to you or something that he even wanted for you. Because of sin, things happen that aren't fair, that don't make sense. People hurt each other and create systems of hurt. But when it seems like it's impossible that anything good can come out of a situation, remember that God is really good at doing the impossible. Check this out. This is one of my favorite verses. "And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And that's Romans 8:28, if you want to look it up. It may not seem to make things all better, and it may not even make sense yet, but God is in the business of taking our hurt and our difficulties and our pain and redeeming them. That means that even if it was done in evil, maybe if it was meant to evil for our lives, he uses it for good, not only for us but for the world around us as well. So when you don't know what to do, remember that your problems can position you for a purpose. Now, this doesn't mean that we can tie a bow on every bad thing that happens. It doesn't mean that everything will be fixed and go back to being how it was. It just means that we can leave room for God to tell a new story in our hard circumstances. It means that we can have confidence in God's ability to redeem things, to know that good can come from bad. It means that the bad stuff doesn't get the last word. The hardest and the worst things aren't the end of our story. In fact, they could be part of something more. So when we go through pain and we can't see the purpose yet, here are some things that can help us get a bigger perspective. First is this: remember that no one else has your life story. Your difficult circumstances aren't fun, but they are unique to you. They put you in a position to learn, to grow, to discover things that no one else can. God is using your tough stuff in ways you can't imagine because they have shaped you in ways no one else has been shaped. Now, they may not make it easier, but it may give you a perspective or a way to see what's going on in your life differently. Remember this too, also, secondly, is that your story can interact with others. So although no one else has your story, many people do face similar circumstances, and you could be a voice to help them through their challenges and pain, a help you would not have been able to provide if you hadn't gone through it yourself. So, going through that disappointment of a season or competition being canceled, it may help you to encourage and lead your younger teammates next season. Struggling through your learning disability, it may help you relate and tutor other students with similar challenges. The feelings of isolation may help you feel and see when fellow students around you are hiding their own feelings of loneliness. Joseph went through pain, and pain that felt pointless. But when we see his backstory, when we see his whole story, we see that God used his problems and positioned him for a purpose. God took his impossibly bad situation and used it to create unimaginable good down the road. So what if God has used your pain, your painful situation, to position you for something amazing that you haven't even imagined yet? Hey, we are going to be back together, hopefully sooner than later. But until then, guys, let's keep praying for one another. Let's keep checking in on friends that we haven't heard from in a while. And when you need help, have the courage to reach out. So be sure to look for some fun things we're doing on social media in the month of July. We miss you, we love you, and we will see you in August.
Weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. When the darkness falls, it won't prevail. The God I serve knows only how to triumph. Oh, my God will never fail. No, my God will never fail. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. of Jesus. Every war he wages, he will win. And I'm not backing down from any giant. I know how this story ends. Oh, I know how this story ends. 'Cause I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, turn it for good. Turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, you turn it for good. Turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, turn it for good. Turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, turn it for good. Turn it for good. Sing, I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Sing, I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord.
God uses our painful experiences for His good and to help us go closer to Him. Nick talked about how Joseph went through a lot of painful things and God used each one. I've been through 4 soldiers that were painful, but God has drawn me closer to knowing and loving Him through each one. He's used lots of people in my life in the process. Don't ever forget that God is here for us when we're going through all life throws at us. Just as He was there for Joseph. My mom's favorite verse is Romans 8:28. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. We have been called according to His purpose. Hey God, thank you for being with us in all things. The good things, the painful things. As we wrap up the school year, Lord, I pray that we will all remember to trust you with everything, and that as we trust, we grow closer to you. Be with each of us as we go about our summer. And when we can meet again. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. Y'all, if you're already plugged into Uprising on social media, you will want to be sure to do that now so you can stay connected with us this summer.
I've been trying not to go off the deep end. Give me a reason. I've been trying not to
Stay on point. I've been trying to save my voice, but y'all gave me no choice. The world gone mad, can't ignore this noise. Look at these people found dead in the streets. I got some partners that hate the police. Me, I'm just trying to hold on to my peace, cause I'm liable to lose it and go get the peace. I need a reason, I need a season, pleading with Jesus, all of this grieving. They be like, if you and what you believe in. I do not trip, I keep it G. What in the H, you say in the I. Ain't no JK, but I'm talking to God. Don't need a